By 1462, Vlad III, better remembered by history as Vlad the Impaler or Dracula, stood at the peak of his notoriety. He was both feared and admired, celebrated for his ruthless defiance of the Ottomans, yet distrusted for his cruelty and ambition. Though a Wallachian prince by birth, he was also a Hungarian noble tied to the powerful crown of Hungary. His fate would not be sealed on the battlefield against the Ottomans, but in a far quieter betrayal at the hands of supposed allies. The year is 1462. Hungary faces Wallachia. A Hungarian noble's fate is sealed. Vlad was born into the House of Draculisty, one branch of the Wallachian ruling dynasty. From childhood, he was bound to Hungary's sphere of influence. Wallachian rulers depended heavily on Hungarian backing to hold their thrones, since Wallachia sat on the frontier between Christian Europe and the ever-expanding Ottoman Empire. Princes who pleased Hungary could keep their crowns. Princes who faltered were quickly replaced. Throughout his reign, Vlad had leaned on Hungarian support to fend off rivals, but his methods of rule were brutal. To him, terror was as much a weapon as the sword. He impaled thousands of enemies, Ottoman soldiers and Wallachian traitors alike, sending a clear message that fear was the true guardian of his throne. When Sultan Mehmed II himself marched into Wallachia in 1462 with a massive army, Vlad responded with one of the boldest campaigns in medieval history. Rather than face the Ottomans directly, he waged a war of shadows. His men poisoned wells, burned villages, and ambushed supply lines. Then in June, he launched his infamous night attack on the Ottoman camp at Targovist, killing thousands and striking terror into an empire. For the first time, Mehmed II hesitated. Though the Sultan survived, the campaign ended without the Ottomans achieving a decisive conquest. But Vlad's triumph came at a cost. His war left Wallachia devastated. Crops were destroyed, villages ruined, and thousands dead. The Ottomans may have withdrawn, but they were far from defeated, and they now viewed Vlad as an enemy to be destroyed at all costs. Worse still, Wallachian boyars, nobles who had long resented Vlad's cruelty, began plotting with Ottoman-backed rivals. Alone and isolated, Vlad turned to his most powerful ally. He crossed the Danube and rode north into Hungary, seeking the aid of King Matthias Corvinus. At first, it seemed logical. Vlad had fought to defend Christian Europe. He had struck directly at the Ottomans when others hesitated. Surely Hungary, the strongest Christian power in the region, would recognize his value and rally to his cause. But Matthias Corvinus had his own priorities. Hungary had suffered enormously in its long wars with the Ottomans. Corvinus, though brave, was also pragmatic. He understood that openly supporting Vlad meant plunging Hungary into another massive war with Mehmed II, whose armies were far larger and wealthier than anything Hungary could muster. Instead of treating Vlad as a hero, Corvinus treated him as a problem. The king's solution was as ruthless as it was unexpected. Rather than grant aid, he had Vlad arrested. To justify the betrayal, Corvinus' court produced letters allegedly written by Vlad himself. Letters claiming that Dracula had offered to negotiate with the Ottomans in secret. Historians today widely believe these letters were forgeries crafted to excuse Corvinus' decision and deflect outrage from the Pope and other Christian rulers. By painting Vlad as a traitor, Hungary could imprison him without scandal. And so, Vlad the Impaler, terror of the Ottomans, scourge of his enemies, defender of Christendom, was placed in chains. For 12 long years, he languished in the dungeons of Buda, locked away not by foreign conquerors, but by his supposed allies. His throne was seized by rival claimants, and Wallachia slipped further into Ottoman influence. The battle was over. Hungary had secured control over Wallachia's future. But this was more than just the fall of a prince. It was a glimpse into the realpolitik of the late Middle Ages. Vlad's imprisonment showed that survival depended less on military glory and more on diplomacy, alliances, and the shifting calculations of powerful neighbours. By removing Vlad, Corvinus ensured that Wallachia would remain weak, fragmented, and dependent on Hungarian oversight. For Hungary, it was a way to manage the frontier without risking all-out war with the Ottomans. Yet the consequences of this betrayal are still debated. Some argue that by sidelining Vlad, Hungary weakened its own defences. No other Wallachian leader could match his ferocity or his will to resist. By imprisoning the one man who had shown he could shake the Ottomans, Hungary may have doomed the region to deeper Ottoman domination in the centuries to follow. Could things have turned out differently if Corvinus had supported Vlad with troops and money? The Ottomans might have faced a devastating two-front struggle, buying Christian Europe more time to prepare for future wars. If Vlad had been allowed to continue his campaign, he might have turned Wallachia into a fortress of resistance, delaying Ottoman expansion further north. On the other hand, some suggest that Vlad's cruelty alienated too many allies to ever create a lasting coalition. His terror kept enemies away, but it also made him impossible to trust. What is clear is that his legend only grew. Stories of the impalements spread across Europe, exaggerated in pamphlets that painted him as both a hero and a monster. Though imprisoned, Vlad became larger than life, his very name used to frighten children and enemies alike. When he was eventually released years later, his reputation alone was enough to rally supporters once again, though his second reign would be short-lived. The betrayal of Vlad III was not just the downfall of a prince, but a turning point in the struggle between Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. Hungary had neutralized a dangerous but effective vassal, choosing political stability over war. Wallachia, however, was left vulnerable, its independence slowly eroded by Ottoman power. The night raids, the forest of impaled prisoners, the legend of Dracula, these would outlive Vlad himself. But in 1462, his fate was sealed not by the armies of Mehmed II, but by the cautious hand of Matthias Corvinus. Like and subscribe for more historical breakdowns.